Albuquerque mayoral candidate Tim Keller is with us in studio right now. Thanks so much for sitting down with us. You are running for a third term, so instead of introducing yourself to voters, tell us why do you want to stay in office for another 4 years?
You know, first and foremost, these are tough times, and I acknowledge that. And we know we have Albuquerque problems on top of national problems, and also a president who's trying to divide our city. And I know that real change takes real work, and that's what I've been doing in my time so far. But that kind of deep change, it's not a flip of a switch. It's not an easy answer. It takes hard work for days and days and days for years. And so now we're turning the corner. We're seeing real progress in big areas, and we'll talk about that today. So we know it's working. And now is no time to turn back. So we want to make sure that we follow through on what we've been working on and hold our city together during these tough times. That's why we need strong, experienced leadership.
All right, let's get right to the big issues, crime and public safety. What policies do you plan on bringing or keeping in a third term?
Well, for crime especially, we have pivoted to using technology and civilians to fight crime. And I know that sounds a little odd at first, but it's all of the speed cameras, the gunshot detection, the license plate readers, and then you partner that with civilians taking calls so that APD is freed up to actually fight violent crime. And so what we've done is our community safety department, a social work response for behavioral and mental health calls. It's taken 150,000 calls that APD did not have to take. That's why we see crime finally coming down. It's been going up for 10 years. Now it's finally coming down. And I know we don't feel it yet. I understand that. But that's part of why I'm running again. We will definitely feel it if I keep crime going down for the next 3 years, and we know it's working. That's why I want to continue it.
So let me ask, what is your plan to address juvenile crime issues that we're still seeing in Albuquerque?
You know, there's three things. Number one is we do have to update the code. We need some help from the state in terms of law changes, and we need investment in the juvenile criminal justice system, but also the diversion system. But what the city is doing is much more specific. I've created the student violence intervention program in now 5 high schools. And this is like an elective class that pulls kids who are already in the criminal justice system and pairs them with formerly incarcerated individuals, but also services. And every kid in this program, 80% chance of their grades going up and not doing any more crime. It's the most successful teen violence intervention program that we're seeing around the country. I want that at every high school. Another reason why I'm asking for another term.
All right, let's shifting gears. Do you plan to change anything about your approach to homelessness or encampments?
You know, what we've done is said that you have to have a place where people can get help, and you have to have a mechanism for them to get addiction treatment, to get off the street. That is what the gateway system is. You know, when I came into office, our city helped 0 people, 0 off the streets. We didn't have a single city employee whose job it was to actually think about homelessness or housing. Now, fast forward, we have had to build a system, an entire system, the gateway system, that has 5 different locations. And we've got a family gateway, we've got medical sobering, we have medical respite, and we have even a senior gateway because we have unhoused seniors. So we're layering the solutions to match individuals' challenges. And then the important thing on the other end of that is housing. That's why we've invested in 2,500 new affordable housing units. It's why we're closing down all these hotels on Central, converting them to housing. It's why we're taking empty office buildings downtown, converting them to housing. All of that is the real work, and it does take real time. I wish it was happening faster. But here again, we know what's working. We just got to see it through.
All right. What do you want Albuquerque voters to know about your immigrant policies?
You know, I worked with City Council initially and by executive order created our immigrant policies. And they should know 3 things. Number one, what our policy actually is. We just don't check immigrant status or papers for anyone. You go to a library, we're not going to ask your status. Also, when you call 911, we are not going to check your papers. I don't believe anyone should live in a city where your documents are being checked. That's the moral part of this. But the other part of this is public safety. Everyone should feel safe to call the police. We need everyone to call the police, regardless of their status or their family status or where they live. That is really important, especially in situations like domestic violence. So this policy also helps keep us safer. Now, the other thing people need to know is we will arrest you if you commit a crime. We just won't ask for your papers. So if you commit murder, if you break into a store, we will absolutely arrest you and we will put you in jail. and we don't care about your status. So it works both ways, and that's what I think a lot of people forget.
All right, we got about a minute left. And last question, where do you think Albuquerque has the most potential for growth or opportunities?
It is definitely at the combination of our original technological thesis. The reason why the labs are here around things like nuclear technology is now in a totally different era of opportunity. We are on the cusp of actually being at the cutting edge of something called quantum computing, which like no one knows about and sounds weird, but it's like an atomic computer, think of it like that, and also fusion. So that's the power from the sun. It's 100% sustainable with like no net loss. It's the miracle power that Mother Nature is waiting for us to discover. And so we just announced Pacific Fusion coming here, bringing 1,000 jobs, the first of its kind in New Mexico and hopefully in the world that is going to be able to do this. Similarly, we have 6 quantum computing companies moving, including some downtown. Now, this is not just PhD like jobs and economy, because the hard part is manufacturing the actual machines that do this. And that's what Albuquerque is a specialist in. So interestingly, this is actually more about like trades and C&M and programs for folks from all walks of life to build these machines. Because we already have the PhDs who know how to do it. That's why we have the competitive advantage. So look, it's a little esoteric, but I will tell you, that is the #1 economic opportunity that our city has seen in a generation. And so that's why I want to take advantage of it.
All right, that's all the time we have. Thank you so much for sitting down with us today.